I'm Nadine.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Ready to see Edna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Left in.
Just behind locked doors, huh?
Yeah, she likes to roam and wander around, and if we didn't, she'd find her way out. They got her up here waiting on you. Reciting poetry today.
Hi, Edna.
What's a blue ribbon? Oh, she's singing.
To the field of clover, I'll drive up to Dover on our golden wedding day.
This film represents about 3 years of my life. It'll take up around an hour and a half of yours. When I turned 50, a friend sent me this cartoon. It cracked me up at the time. I'm 53 now, and with each passing year, I find I laugh less and less at it. It's not that I lack a sense of humor about the realities of aging, but I'm bothered more and more by the speed on that downward slope. I guess I wouldn't be in this rather morose frame of mind if it wasn't for my mother. She died recently. Her downward slope began in 1996. She was an accomplished painter. She lived for her work. But that year, she lost her studio and most of her canvases to a fire that swept through the canyon where she lived. She seemed sadder after that. That's why, even though she died at 85, I prefer to picture her like this: high-spirited, creative, young. So planning her funeral was really difficult, but it had to be done. And it got me thinking about the inevitable.
I've spent my career, 30 years, whatever it's been, the guy that nobody wants to do business with professionally.
One of the challenges that we have is no one wants what I have to offer.
Though this is not an easy subject to deal with, we have to do this because death is no respecter of age.
Come with me, look. I don't know why we don't think about death. I think it's just because we think we're going to keep on living. Isn't that smart for a blonde girl to say?
The Funeral Directors Convention is not unlike a medical soiree where all the, urologists get together for a couple of days. Always there is one part of the conference that has sort of a social aspect to it, the sort of hail and farewell and how you been type of thing among strange colleagues who speak in odd lexicons,
We're focusing on our embalming fluids. They're formaldehyde-based, used to preserve human remains after they die. And I'm the embalmer that can walk them step by step through that. So it's a lot of fun.
This is the Body Scoop. Body Scoop is designed to make a one-person lift, a person of almost any size.
I do think we confuse the essential obligations of a funeral with the accessories to a funeral. There's nothing I can sell you that'll get you into heaven or keep you out. These are accessories. They're boxes.
Our caskets are designed for those families that appreciate style and beauty. We've added some specialty items like 24-karat gold for the hardware.
These are caskets made out of paper veneer. It's a very similar process, just like brands of IKEA furniture.
People are changing their styles from traditional burial caskets to a rental type of casket, where the deceased stays in the cardboard container. You open the front, and now you're able to remove the deceased through the front of the casket.
A typical person would fit in an urn this size and still have some room left over. I never want to make one that things just fit, so mine are always just a little bit bigger than you need.
To deal with mortality, you must deal with the mortal thing, the corpse, getting it to its grave or tomb or fire.
How do you like my caskets?
But ours is truly the first generation that has tried to accomplish this without having to deal with the dead guy.
And we just have fun with it. It's all about the celebration of the cowboy's life.
We are constantly organizing these memorial services or celebrations of life, whatever the euphemism du jour is. The talk is uplifting, the music is life-affirming, the finger food is good, someone is on hand to declare closure, usually just before the Merlot runs out, and everyone is welcome except the one who has died.
The boomers want something different than a traditional funeral, and that's kind of the niche where we fell into. We've done some really special funerals for people where you went actually bar hopping with the body.
Once families get started going through the grieving process online, with funeral1.com, they can actually go through, choose their loss experience type. Was it sudden death? Was it general grief? Death of a spouse? Suicide? We're even expanding right now into pet loss as well.
Ours is a culture that's very comfortable with a good laugh, but hasn't a clue about the usefulness of a good cry. It's hard to laugh in the face of a corpse. Everything is sort of diminished in importance by this dead thing and the mystery it represents. It makes me think things I wouldn't otherwise think. It makes me wonder more.
I wonder a lot as well about every new gray hair, every new nose hair, every new pound in my ever-widening midsection. Each one is a cruel reminder that maybe my best years are behind me. Is this it? Am I past my prime? Actually, it's not death I fear so much as it is being stuck with the uncool trappings of old age. Early bird specials, senior discounts, Lawrence Welk reruns.
Happy birthday from Smuckers. How sweet it is. Take a look at our Smuckers jar. Cordelia. I love that name. Cordelia. Dig it.
Centenarians are one of, and if not the fastest growing group in America. There's over 100,000 out there now. And most of them are in pretty good shape. They have that makeup in them where they were, resilient. They don't look back like Saint-Tropez. Something's gaining on you. Something is gaining on all of us.
But when your colon's out of whack...
Thanks for reminding me, Willard.
My doctor told me I should have been doing more for my high cholesterol.
That's not exactly a comforting thought, especially since American pharmaceutical companies do such a great job stressing out the boomers about the perils of getting older.
When I saw a picture on the front page of my paper, a senior woman eating dog food out of a garbage can, I said, "What's wrong with this picture?"
Just so long as I don't trip on stage.
So I decide, well, what would happen if an older woman got as much attention as a Miss America?
Okay, where am I?
Well, you're at the Miss Senior America beauty pageant, and the women are 60 years and older.
I'm 75.
And I'm 74.
We tell our ages because it's promoting the positive image of aging, and we're having a ball.
And there they are, the delegates competing for the title of Ms. Senior America National Queen 2007.
We have a pageant which has to address the older person, but I have a problem. I can't have swimsuit, or else we might have Wrinkle City winners. I had to replace that category with something else, and that's called philosophy of life.
Life is like a river, sometimes calm but often turbulent. I want to live life like a ray of sunshine.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery.
I may be a senior, but I'm still hot. It just comes in flashes. Life is a journey, and I am enjoying the trip.
And with the evening gown, which is very elegant, and the philosophy of life, and the talent and interview, the women had 4 categories in which to compete.
I'm 80 years old, and I never really found myself till about 7 years ago. I kind of woke up one day and thought, I don't even know who I am, so I started looking for who I was, and I found me, and I liked me.
How do you do that? I mean, I said, my knees are never going to last that long. Didn't you say you were 80?
Yes.
I mean, how can you do this? Your knees, they work so well.
I signed up in 2005, had to drop out because I have a total knee replacement. And then I thought, well, this one more shot this year. And I set my goals to win and be Miss Senior Arkansas. There were 12 of us in the contest. Most of them were in their 60s, and me being in my 80s. I had positive thoughts. I put doubt out of my mind and just worked to achieve it, and I did. My pastor really didn't approve of this, and they don't really approve of dancing. And he said, it won't be in the paper, will? And I said, yes, it will. And he also warned me that this was supposed to be Sin City. He said, you're going to face all kinds of temptation. I said, temptation? I don't drink. I don't gamble. And my boyfriend's back home. I'd face more temptation if I was in Arkansas.
Our first runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, Miss South Carolina, coming.
This is not a competition. This is a cooperation. People at that age level do not think in terms of competing in the sense that, oh, if I win, I'm going to get a job with the Ford modeling agency or something like that. They want to build up their self-esteem, find companions.
Miss Senior American National Queen 2007.
I feel good. I'm just happy to have been here. How many women my age get to appear on stage in Las Vegas?
Any little disappointment? Or?
No disappointment. I'm still a winner. God's been good to me, and I'm going to get married. I've been widowed for 17 years and finally found a man. Took me a long time, didn't it? A good man. Good man loves me. To him, I'm beautiful. I'm the perfect woman. I'm everything, you know. I said, Gerald, I'm 80. I don't want you to be disappointed in me, but what you see is what you're going to get. So, and I'm older than he is, but he can drive at night. That's a plus when you get older, you know that?
Do you have an email?
Yes, I do.
We'll email. Okay.
Images that a lot of us carry about aging are unduly negative and harmful to us. They actually found that the type of belief system that a person has about aging, whether it's positive, hopeful, and constructive, or whether it's negative and just looking, there's no good side to it, has more impact on their health as they get older than their blood pressure, than their cholesterol level, even than whether they smoke, all of which are important. But they found this was even more important.
For me, it was turning 50. It was hard. You know, there are some monsters that come out of those caves late at night. No amount of sex and no amount of sleeping pills and no amount of drugs. I mean, we do so much in our society to try to mask and to hold at bay these thoughts and feelings and memories.
People have often said to me, aren't you afraid of getting old? I said, no. I've never had that fear. I knew that I was collecting truths along the way. I have a stick with a nail in it. I go through life jabbing it at truths. I pick them up and put them in my trash bag.
You've had a little bit of time to read this quote. Atticus says to Scout, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." We're going to be starting our visits to the Linda Valley Villa, which is a retirement facility. So we're going to try this experiment, you are going to get a taste of what their life is like today. When you get older, something that happens are cataracts. I want you to take some Vaseline, some petroleum jelly, and just smear the glasses, the outside of your glasses with it. And these will be your eyes for the rest of the class period. Take out the rocks, take off your shoe, and put them in your shoe. Okay, when you get older, you know, you've been walking on your feet for years and years and years, and your feet begin to hurt. So, Risa, wrap these around your knees, arthritis in your knees, okay? So wrap them around, Sam, tighten them.
What?
Put these gloves on. We're gonna fix you with arthritis in your joints in your hand. I want you to hook these to your belt loops.
Really?
Yeah.
The issue is not to deny the limits of age. There are physical limits, but spiritually there are no limits. Psychologically and emotionally, this can be not when we retire, as someone said to me recently, but refire.
And now, here is a man who will show you how to feel better, look better, Jack LaLanne.
You know, what's all this middle age and all this old age business? You know, what is it? Is there a law somewhere because you're 30 or 35 or 40 years old or 50 or 60 or 70? You have to get in a rocking chair and die?
Jack LaLanne can't afford to die. Wreck my image.
Ready, begin. 1, 2.
That's why I tell people, you only live once. So that's why you should take care of yourself. See, exercise is king, nutrition's queen. Put them together, you got a kingdom.
Inhale. Hold up. Inhale again. Fine.
I'm a salesman. You know, think about it. If you believe in something, you sell it.
Now I have the answer to all of your problems. The new, long play, high fidelity, glamour stretcher, time record.
Why did Jesus Christ perform all those miracles? To prove that his philosophy worked. And if Jack LaLanne's philosophy doesn't work for Jack LaLanne, it's not going to work for you, is it? That's why I did all those incredible feats. When I did the 1,000 chins and the 1,000 push-ups, and I towed the 2,000-pound boat from San Francisco across the Golden Gate. Then on my 70th birthday, I towed 70 boats with 70 people in the boats, my feet and hands tied, a mile and a half in Long Beach. This is my workshop. This is where I take care of the most important person on this earth, me. I work out every day for 2 hours. I invented a lot of the equipments in the gym today. First, weight selector, leg extension machine. I started inventing equipment way back in 1931. You know, those days, physical fitness, that was unheard of.
Put in the carrots. Shall I show you right? I'll put the carrots in first. Okay. You just put this down. The juice comes out here.
Look at that.
So it takes everything raw, whole.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's what's wonderful.
See how you like it. That's carrot juice.
Beautiful.
Isn't that good?
See what you're doing. You're doing something
really
for
good.
you. And it tastes good while you're doing it. You're putting live, vital food in this live, vital body.
Well, at least we know he likes it.
I'm a selfish person. When I put something in my Jack LaLanne's mouth, I say, what is it doing for me? Am I going to be a better lover for my mate? Am I going to get rid of these aches and pains? Am I going to be better with my family?
Jack, I was wondering whether you could tell me any kind of what I should be doing to live a sort of a long and healthy life. What kind of exercises?
Walking's good, but you got to do it vigorously. Here's how you got to walk, like this. You're walking like this. When you're walking, you go like 1, 2, hand over head, push it to the ceiling. You walk, bring those legs in, pull that waist in, just like that. You folks out there, try it. Here we are, up, down, push, All the way. No, straighten your arms overhead.
Like this? Like this?
Hit the ceiling.
Jesus.
Like this. Punch it. Punch it. Now you got it. Now when you're walking, see? And pull that gut in. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Straighten them out. You put something into it. Punch the ceiling. Don't you know how to punch? It's like this. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
Boom. Hit the There you go. Now walk as you're doing it. Your health account, your bank account are the same. The more you put in, the more you take out. That's it. Good. Come on.
There are plenty of examples of graceful aging, so why be afraid of it?
Do that while you're
All it takes, it seems, is a little commitment and a blender. Jack sure makes it look easy.
There's so much work to be done yet. I can hardly wait for tomorrow to get doing something. Sitting on your big fat backside and thinking, oh, I remember the good old days. And the good old days are this second. This is the moment I've waited for. This is it. This moment controls the next moment. And as I said before, who makes it happen? You.
When I was growing up, my mom would exercise every morning in front of the TV with Jack. But even though his old school cheerleading got results, aren't we a bit more advanced nowadays? Does it all need to be so strenuous?
So I've often said that aging is a barbaric phenomenon. It's an uncivilized phenomenon that should just not be accepted and tolerated in polite society. I started off being a computer scientist. I did my undergraduate degree in computer science in the mid-80s, and I did computer science research for several years after that. While I was doing that, I met my wife, who is a biologist, and we got together and I learned a lot of biology just sort of by accident over the dinner table over the next few years. And I was not just learning biology, I was also learning about what biologists are interested in and what they're not interested in. And I was extremely surprised to discover that actually the biology of aging was a real backwater. So eventually I became sufficiently annoyed about this that I decided to get into it myself. I thought, well, you know, if these people are not trying to make a difference to the biology of aging, then maybe I can do something. Aging is a repair and maintenance problem. The human body, of course, is a very, very complicated machine, but it's still a machine. So, in principle, one ought to be able to figure out ways to repair that damage so that the decline in function is postponed. If we think about the way that postponement of the aging of a machine works for really simple machines, like cars, for example, if you maintain your car only averagely, then maybe it'll only last 15 years. If you maintain it a little bit better, you maybe last 20 years. But there is a threshold level of, if you like, comprehensiveness of repair and maintenance, above which, basically, the sky's the limit. That means that if we didn't have aging at all anymore, the average lifespan would be somewhere around 1,000 years. Some people would die much younger than that just because they got unlucky or they were careless crossing the street, and some people would live a lot longer than that. I predict that within about 10 years, so long as the funding for the research is sufficiently good, we may have breakthroughs in the laboratory in mice that will make it clear that it's only a matter of time before we can essentially eliminate aging in humans. There's going to be a wide variety of different stem cell therapies to repopulate tissues that are losing cells. There's going to be vaccines involved. There's almost certainly going to be standard small molecule drugs involved. Lots of different things put together. Now, the aging process will not, of course, be eliminated from the body in this way. It'll be just like repair and maintenance of a machine, so it'll need to be reapplied periodically.
I'm a little worried, Aubrey. I'm 52 years old. Is that too late for your therapies? Are they going to benefit me at all?
I can make no promises on this, but I think by the time these therapies come along, you'll be biologically 70 or 75. Now, these therapies will be bona fide rejuvenation therapies, therapies that actually restore the body to a biologically younger age. So you will be taken back to biologically 40, shall we say, by these therapies. And as the therapies are progressively improved in their quality, then the next time you're re-rejuvenated, you may be going back to biologically 30. So absolutely, I think you've got a fair chance of making the cut.
15 years from now, we're really going to have the fruits of this biotechnology revolution where we can very dramatically reprogram the information processes that run in our bodies. We're going to be able to add new genes, turn off genes, really reprogram who we are. We'll have not just designer babies, but designer baby boomers. computers that are now in your pocket will be blood cell size. They'll be very intelligent. We'll have millions of these nanobots going through our bloodstream, keeping us healthy from inside, going inside our brains, interacting directly with our biological neurons, and really extending who we are, putting our brains on the internet, giving us access to vast resources of knowledge, memory, problem-solving capability. So to my baby boomer peers, the message is you really need to be very aggressive, and yes, then you can get into the theater of radical life extension. You don't want to be the person who doesn't get into the theater.
If there was a pill someone could offer you, if you took it, you'd live for 500 years, would you take it?
500 years?
Yeah.
Give me 500 more years? Hell yeah, I'd take it.
500 years sounds good to me. Off a pill?
Since I've been through 2 cancer operations and 6 weeks of radiation, I probably would. That would make sense. But I don't have to speak to the devil, do I?
The most significant revolution of our lifetime will be the creation of the ageless society. It will dwarf the creation of the computer. Aging is no longer inevitable. Anti-aging medicine is a very contained, very scientific, very objective clinical science. But the anti-aging marketplace, is everything from Botox to plastic surgery to sports medicine. So it's around the kernel of what anti-aging medicine is.
I am proud to say I created the 7 dwarfs of menopause. And they are itchy, bitchy, sleepy, sweaty, bloated, forgetful, and all dried up. And for many years, they lived inside my body.
I just closed here in Las Vegas a week ago, and people would come backstage because I run and leap and jump and do and sing, and for 90 minutes all by myself. And the constant comment was, where do you get the energy? Good thing I'm on hormones. Oh my God.
Hormones are the juice of youth. Hormones are what gives us our quality of life.
Every single time you squeeze Thighmaster, you strengthen and tone right where you need it.
Everybody's focused on the outside, but what I'm focused in is on the inside. I don't want my insides to have accelerated aging because that's not going to serve me well down the road, especially now that they're keeping us alive longer than ever before.
I love that I can be at 60 years old and feel so good. It's not old anymore.
As we get older, we lose the ability to rebuild ourselves. Our cells start to age and they lose the ability to make hormones, and hormones direct the rebuilding process.
See, hormones are this. You go to the symphony, and Zubin Mehta is the conductor. And in the symphony, all the players are professional players, great players. That's why they're there. They're the best. The major hormones, adrenal and cortisol, are Zubin Mehta. All the rest are the professional players. If Zubin's out of sorts or doesn't show up or is burnt out, nobody knows what to do. And so they all try to do it as best they can, but nothing's working right. So I got Zubin working really well. My adrenals are pumping out perfectly. They're all playing the same song. It's all in perfect tune. It's perfect inside me. I take estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, pregnenolone, testosterone, HGH, and melatonin. That's my song. And I do find that men, once this light bulb goes off, they're the first ones at the doctor. They're the first ones wanting to do it, because what man wants to lose his edge, his maleness?
Do you know how often you should go and have a bowel movement in a day? Or
So I look forward to being 100, 120. We actually never have to die.
Will this make me live a longer life, you think?
Yes. Help you live younger, stronger, and longer.
I really believe I'm going to live to 100 or more, and with my brain. I want my brain. I do not want to live without my brain.
Okay, it's very special.
And then I want to play Chrissy Snow again as a really, really smart old lady.
If I was to offer you a pill that you could take that would make you live 500 more years, would you take it?
I wouldn't take it because I wouldn't want to live that long. I don't know. There's something very, it motivates me to know that I have a limited time.
500 years is a long time to live. I think there's a reason why we get old and die, just spiritually.
No, I wouldn't take it. No, I think everything has an expiration date and you shouldn't make it longer just by taking some magical pills.
Well, life is sweet because it's short? I don't know. That's why.
The reason there's interest in people like Aubrey de Grey and the other life extenders has to do with the temper of our age, which I think of as narcissistic. There is something about my life that is so important that it must continue on and on, regardless of the demographic costs, regardless of the environmental costs. Every generation comes with new ways of thinking, new ideas. And were I to crowd this earth, there will be no wave of clearing the atmosphere of the rancid staleness that has come on the present generation.
It's not a question of living to 1,000 or living to 200 even. I mean, I don't even know whether I want to live to 100. But I do know that I'd like to make that choice when I'm 99, rather than having those choices gradually taken away from me by my declining health.
It's my debt to everything that has come before me, and it's my obligation to everything that comes after me that I die within my allotted time.
Most of the people watching this movie wouldn't be around if we hadn't, in fact, extended who we are. Life expectancy was 23 1,000 years ago. So we go beyond our limitations, and we're going to continue to do that. And that's not narcissistic, that's creative, that's expanding our horizons. That's what being human is all about.
Careful, mate, careful, behind you. It's called Newton's Mathematical Bridge because it was designed by Newton in honour of the college where he was an undergraduate.
So for me, I would obviously like to benefit from the therapies that I work on.
So I've decided to sign up to be cryopreserved as and when, if I'm unlucky enough to die of anything really, old age or anything. And that's because I feel that once you decide that living a long time would be a good thing, well, clearly living a long time with a bit of a gap in the middle is just as good a thing.
Cryonics is an experimental research project whereby people who are suffering from incurable ailments today can be preserved in the hopes of basically transporting them to a time where future medicine can restore them to a healthy life. We believe it is possible to preserve a person and then ultimately bring them back. However, a lot of the technology that it's going to be required to wake these people up has yet to be developed.
As the pace of life all around us quickens, science is on the verge of making mankind's dream of having more time a reality.
Some people, if they had more time, would just fritter away more time. They wouldn't get anything done because they had more time not to get things done. Other people would use their time and live several different productive lifetimes. Other folks would just watch a lot more TV.
I'm not in any hurry to see the other side. I think I will. I currently have 2 graduate degrees. I think probably 3, 4, 5 more would be great. I love to learn. I like to travel. I love my family. I would love to see my great-great-great-grandkids.
This is Alcor's patient care bay. Our 83 patients are currently stored. We currently have 10 dewars that are in operation right now. Each of them holds 4 whole-body patients and 5 neuro patients. They, in effect, act as giant stainless steel thermos bottles, requiring no electricity, no support of any kind except for the occasional addition of liquid nitrogen. This is one of our whole body pods. Each whole body patient is wrapped in a sleeping bag and strapped inside one of these pods for the long-term storage.
Does this ever kind of creep you out to think that there are people here that could be revived or sitting here?
I'm not creeped out by the fact that there are people in here. I'm actually quite excited. I know quite a few of them. They're my friends. I would love to see them again, and it'll be one great party when they come back.
I'm not anxious to be dead. If it works, I'll be part of history. I'm part of the future at the same time.
You know, as a science fiction fan, it was something that was extremely compelling to me and didn't really require much thought. I signed up basically right away as soon as I found out it was happening for real. Our membership demographic has traditionally included a lot of engineers, scientists. We see that demographic changing now. What we're seeing is more families signing up, husbands, wives, a couple of kids, because nobody wants to go into the future alone.
I worry that my family hasn't signed up, but I'm not the pushy type, despite having been a life insurance agent. My wife is not certain that she wants to sign up for chronics yet. She's still wrestling with that. She's not quite as sure. But I also realize that, you know, people do move on after deaths in the family. People do move on after bad things happen. And so I'll make a new future if it comes to that.
Seems like a good idea to me. I'm enjoying life. I think life's wonderful.
Not me. I don't want to live with them for another 500 years.
No, that's right. She doesn't want... I could get another woman, though. But, I mean, the thing is, just think of the fun you'd have. Fantastic. I've had so much fun now. I'm scared of dying because I'm going to miss out.
So, Mark, I've been wondering, what moves you to make this movie?
I just want more.
More of life.
More of life, and I feel like... This is my friend, Pico Iyer. He's probably the sanest person I know. And do things and have experiences that I haven't had before.
So that suggests that you don't feel a sense of fulfillment? Huh.
Besides being a successful writer, he's traveled just about everywhere in the world. He has a youthful spirit and a wisdom beyond his 50 years.
I think what we're seeing right now is that everybody's excitingly jumping on the bandwagon of extended life and new possibilities. But it's too early to see what the shadow side is or what the cost is. And so we're like people in a restaurant greedily ordering more and more dishes and not realizing that at some point the bill is going to be presented and we're going to faint, or it's going to be much different than we imagined.
Maybe Pico has a point. Even though I'm hungry for as much life as I can get, how would I fill up 500 years, 1,000 years?
Would you like to give it a try?
Sure.
The cost of a cryopreservation is $150,000 for the whole body.
It's a nice fit.
It's not so bad. And it's $80,000 for a brain-only neuro patient.
I mean, that can get really expensive. How many careers will I have to pursue? How many marriages? How many documentaries are out there to make? Does a really long life guarantee a fulfilled one?
One thing I've noticed in the last few years in my own life is that I seek out older people much more than I used to. And it's as if they've climbed to the top of the mountain and are looking out on a much broader expanse than the rest of us who are still huffing and puffing, not even knowing if we'll get to the peak or not.
I decided to ask the winners of life's lottery, some of the oldest people in the world. But to find them, I needed some help.
Well, as a senior consultant for gerontology for Guinness World Records, my job is basically to decide for Guinness who is the world's oldest person according to scientific concepts. The point is they don't want somebody to get a record and to be embarrassed by investigation that finds out that it's not true. We have people that exaggerate their age for any number of reasons. We had people claim to be, I'm divinely blessed by God, and if you give me money, you're going to live to be 120. We've had people claim that this is a spiritual thing, that it's a religious thing. And then we have bragging rights. People exaggerate their age to say, my people live longer than your people. I'm more interested in both a quantitative and a qualitative approach. So I want to know about their history. I want to know how they managed to survive such a long time. I want to know about their positive or negative mental state.
You want to say anything to everybody in Los Angeles? I can't. You want to say anything? What?
So we often find that these people have stories to tell. It helps to remind people that history doesn't have to be dead. So you are now the world's third oldest person, according to Guinness Book of World Records. So I'm here to bring you this copy. So
that's for you, Miss
That's for you. I'll be back next year if you're gonna be here next year. Yes.
Okay, I'll be here.
Don't want to settle for third place now. Sometimes you make friends with these people. Normally, I try to only make friends with them if they appear to be in good shape, because if they look like they're nearing the end of the line, I don't want to emotionally invest in someone that is fixing to pass away. And in cases where the person appears to be healthy, such as Betty Wilson or Susie Gibson, I was able to emotionally invest in them because I realized that they would probably survive at least a year. And we know that many average friendships don't last more than a year or two.
Everyone stand for the national anthem.
I'm realizing over time that I used to believe give 100% of the time, and I realized that you're simply going to burn yourself out and die young. And most of the people, it's more of a 90% solution. You have 90% of the time. They're steady. They get up at the same time every day. They go to bed at the same time every day. They eat the same thing on Wednesday that they ate last Wednesday. They don't get upset about things. They maintain family connections. They're just generally positive people, but they're realistic people as well. How did you get this far? How did you get this far? How did you get this far?
Ask the Lord, because I can't tell you.
Ask the Lord. The people that are living to be 114, 120, and in addition to having all the proper genes, they also had a positive mental attitude, and they made the most out of their genetic inheritance.
There's a difference between longevity and long life. Long life means living a long time, even if you're confined to a bed. Longevity means you are healthy and active until the day you die, so you die quickly and peacefully.
Well, one of the things that interested us about the Okinawans was their very low rates of diseases associated with the aging process, particularly the big three killers: heart disease, cancers, and stroke. Living to the age of 100 is not an unusual thing. So 70 is very young. 80, well, you're starting to get up there. 90, well, a little bit, but you're still going. Well, okay, maybe I'm thinking about going to the other world at age 100, but anytime before that, it's too soon. What we're finding in our studies is a lot higher levels of disability as people age in America versus Okinawa. So people are not only living longer in Okinawa, they're living longer and in better health. If we talk figures, we're looking at approximately 7 years of disability at the end of your life in America versus about 2.5 in Okinawa.
Hello. Hello.
If you look at why the Okinawans live so long, we've boiled it down to 4 main factors. One is diet. It's a very low-calorie diet, but very high in nutrient density. Yeah, this would be a typical Okinawan meal. You've got a little bit of fish here. This is actually a bonito. It's a tuna fish, very high in omega-3 fatty acids. This is sea grapes. They're a type of seaweed. One of the reasons why the Okinawans have lived so long, because of this very nutrient-rich, calorie-poor diet. The key combo, full of micronutrients, antioxidants, flavonoids.
So low caloric density means you're eating a lot of food, but actually the calories in that quantity or that weight of food is way less than...
Exactly, calories per gram. So you're actually eating more food in total volume, but it has much less calories in it. So you get fuller, faster, and you stay full. The second thing that we've looked at is how active these people are. You don't see these older people out jogging down the street. They're not going to the gym. They're gardening, they're walking. They love traditional dance. These activities are not things they consciously follow to keep active and healthy. They're things they do because they're part of their lifestyle. When we're looking at these very old people, almost all of them have something that gets them out of bed in the morning. Something, what they call in Japan, is ikigai. There's a fisherman I know up in the village. His name is Nakamura Zen-san. And his ikigai, what gets him going every day, is fishing. Fishing done in a traditional way. In Okinawa, there's no word for retirement. People just kind of keep on going with what they've been doing. They slow down, of course, but they keep involved in some kind of activity throughout their lives. In my experience, that people in Okinawa are much more relaxed, happy-go-lucky. Things operate at a little slower pace in Okinawa. Nobody's ever on time.
I've been fishing with Nakamura-san in the past, and I was diving with diving gear. All he had on were his little handmade goggles, no fins, and a wetsuit. And I couldn't keep up with him. How many 92-year-old fishermen do you know who are out there fishing the traditional way, not just in a boat with a rod, but diving without air, putting the nets under the water, chasing the fish in there? It's absolutely amazing.
If I lived another 100 years, it wouldn't change, because there'd be the excitement of being alive and getting up in the morning and saying, which way do I jump today? How do I explode? I put a stick of dynamite in my mouth and light the fuse, and blows the hell out of my head.
After I retire, I'm doing a lot of fishing, and then I think fishing is looking down, kite fly looking up. The same thing with the string, onto the string. Yeah, one is up, one down, So that's to take up kite flying. So I built one, and then I said, gee, 1 or 2, and then 3, and so forth. So I built a whole string of kite, I like very much kite flying now. I don't even fish anymore. I'm very much of a loner myself, yeah. So, like gathering a lot of people, it isn't my cup of tea at all. Yeah, I like to be alone.
What's your secret to a long life, Tyrus?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I had a good sense of humor, don't kind of hold grudges against anybody, you know. Some people like me and some people don't like me, so I just take it, you know. I take the good and the bad, so, you know.
I've seen people age so differently. I've seen some people become bitter and cynical and defeated and broken, and I've seen others become luminous and joyful and radiant as they age. It's not that when they were 80 years old they could run the 100-yard dash as fast as when they were 20, but they weren't trying to do that. They were in touch with the beauties and the opportunities of each life stage.
I think everything can be divided into two big classifications pretty much, and that is the things you can do something about and the things you can't do anything about. I don't go to bed at night and try to solve the problems of tomorrow or in the past. I don't have any fear about becoming mentally incompetent because I don't find myself deteriorating in that area so much as I do in my physique, as far as what I can do physically. I've been a cardiothoracic surgeon all of my professional life. There's a sort of a general opinion that people at my age are inclined to be incompetent, and I don't want them to think that they're getting poor care, so I don't mention my age very often. But I have thought maybe I might quit at, say, 95. It's a round figure, you see. I suppose when I quit being in the operating room, I'll miss it because it's a sort of a social life, you know. Those are very fine people you work with, and you get acquainted with them, and there's a social interaction that goes on. And I'll miss that, but I'll find other things to do. I sort of look at all my life as being in chapters. And when a chapter's over, I close it, and that's that. So the day I quit work, why, I'll find something else to keep myself occupied. If I didn't have something that I work at, then I would be inclined, I think, to be much more lethargic and to give in to my periods of fatigue or whatever it is that you have when you're old.
You worked 15 hours yesterday.
But when I go into the operating room, there's something about it that it stimulates me, that there's a challenge there, and my body then draws on its reserves, and I feel energetic while I'm doing the surgery, and I feel energetic when I'm finished. And that's one of the reasons why I keep it up.
Well, if you've got a steady job, you've got a steady mind, haven't you? And you can do what you like with what money you earn so that you can enjoy life the way you like it. I like to have a bet, I like a pint, and I like a smoke. And you can't get them if you're not earning any money, can you? You wouldn't have wanted to know me when I was a kid. They used to call me the little bastard because you never knew what I was getting up to.
Buster's the oldest employee in Great Britain. He specifically washes the vans, and we're privileged to have the guy working for us. And I mean, he puts the youngsters to shame at times. You know, sometimes you hear the youngsters huffing and puffing a little bit. Not Buster. He smokes, he drinks, he's out to all hours, but the guy's always in on time, you know.
Well, we started training for the London Marathon 6 months ago. He's done one, now he wants to do the one up in Edinburgh, in Scotland, so there's no holding him back now. He wants to keep doing them, and if he wants to keep doing them, I'll keep training him.
I've always been fit. I don't eat fish. I don't eat dairy products. But I do like me red meat, veg. I don't drink tea. I don't drink water. No, I don't drink any water in a marathon. Give me a beer, yeah, I'll have that. It's different. Even before I'd done the marathon, I had to have a fag and a pint before I started. And I had five rests, that was 5 pints and 5 fags. Oh, I don't let anything interfere with me. I'm not like you people, normal. And I mean that.
How many years have you been smoking for?
Since I was 7.
Can you say I've been smoking since I was 7? Sorry, Buster.
I just said that.
I know, but we're cutting out my questions for the interview. So could answer the question again, if you could. You've been.
Oh, you want your question to come first, and then my answer, like as if I'm waiting for a cue. That's not how I speak. You ask me a question, I'll answer it straight away. So if it intermingles with yours, that is conversation, isn't it? You see, he wants me to keep repeating these words like as if I'm following. Look, don't try and put words, I'm not an actor.
Oh, Mark, my life's always been wonderful, but the best part of it was over 50. You don't care anymore about what people think about you. You're just your own person. You've accumulated a lot of information and knowledge, and you're ready for new adventures, and you take them freely. It's a good time to be. I wrote a book that's called 28,000 Martinis, and I'm a vegetarian because I don't believe in killing. You know, there are lots of vegetables and fruits, but I always have vodka every night. The book isn't about martinis, it's about evolution, it's about my life and my family. I remember, I think the most vivid memory of my whole 100 years is the day that peace was declared, the First World War, because we were told there would never be another war. Just think how you would feel if you really believed there would never be another war. Wouldn't it be wonderful if only it had become a reality? My husband and I, we saw the approaching of the Second World War, and we said, well, when the war comes, we want to be able to do something, but we're too old to join the Army or the Navy, and we had children anyway. What can we do? We said, perhaps we can learn to fly, so we can ferry ships. So we learned to fly. I don't believe in a God, and I don't go to church. I don't believe in churches. I think they're too controlling. And I believe there are only really 3 laws. One, the law of cause and effect. What you give out comes back to you. The other is free will and free choice. People say, why did God let that happen? God didn't let it happen. We let it happen by making bad choices. And then the most important one is the law of love. I don't think one person could possibly learn all those things in one life. So I think this is a kindergarten. I think we're here to learn all of those special lessons. I'm thinking of writing a book on miracles. One miracle that I love is that I was working with a committee to banish nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, we thought we were getting somewhere, but we didn't. One thing I don't want you to do is tell yourself you're going to forget, because you do. Can't remember where I was.
My mother struggled with dementia in her later years, and every time I forget a name or an interview question, which I confess is happening more and more, I worry that the illness is creeping up on me as well.
Members come to Vibrant Brains, just like a health club, whenever it's convenient for them to use a variety of software programs through our aerobics circuit training program in an environment that's conducive to a good workout. Just like at the gym where you might have someone telling you how many reps to do on which machine, which day, we have a similar program here. So as you can see, the gym consists of 20 different computer stations, and I'd love to show you some of the games if you'd like to walk through yourself.
Great. So I've been finding recently I walk into a room and I have no idea why I've walked in, or I forget someone's name, or any of these exercises I'm going to be doing going to improve that?
Yes, they will. The programs that we have here at Vibrant Brains help increase a person's chances of staying cognitively fit longer in life.
Okay, so I didn't do too well with those exercises. I always hated going to the gym anyway.
Okay, I have a prescription for everyone, just to laugh for 10 minutes every day for no reason. So put your hands like this and go to warm-up exercise called ho, ho, ha, ha, 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 ho, ho. My name is Madan Kataria. I'm a medical doctor from Mumbai, India. Laughter Yoga or Laughter Club is a new concept where anyone can laugh for no reason. The yoga part of Laughter Yoga comes from combining yoga breathing with laughter exercises.
This is the starting your engine laughter. You take an imaginary key and you crank your engine in 4 laugh.
Scientific research tells us that the reason we are sad, depressed, reason we have stress and all the illness is because there is a lack of oxygen in the body cells. With 15 to 20 minutes of laughter yoga and breathing exercises, it energizes, it brings more oxygen to your body and brain. Then take a long deep breath. Hold it, hold it, hold it. My dear laughter friends, today is the World Laughter Day, a very special day.
Some people claim that laughter has tremendously helped them recover from cancer, from pretty harsh and serious physical illnesses.
Good health is not about vitamins or taking good food only. It's about your breathing, your breath and oxygen.
We use laughter as a primary excuse to breathe, as a secondary excuse to stir in some happy feeling, happy chemistry, to change attitude.
If you laugh, you are happy, you live longer.
Laughter will not change your life. It will change you.
It's in the Bible, the old book. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. They've known this for thousands of years.
Now, before we get off the subject of old, I have some tips for you. If you visit an old folks' home, don't ever set a drink down, because every time I did, somebody dropped their teeth in it.
I would urge people to laugh more. Children laugh as much as 400 times a day. Adults, 20 at the most.
You know you're old when your walker has an airbag. And they've discontinued your blood type. Somebody compliments you on your alligator shoes, and you're barefoot.
Laughter fluffs up every cell in your body. All the time you're laughing, every cell is laughing. Because what you do in your mind, your whole body is doing. Always. And then you have a long life and a good life, and people want to be with you, and that keeps the whole fire burning.
Well, Jacques Palmé, who lived to be 122 years of age, is by far the oldest verified person in scientific history. We have more documents to prove her age than for any other case. She had 3 of the longevity keys. She loved olive oil, she loved wine, and she loved chocolate. We know that she smoked about 1 or 2 cigarettes a day. She tended to stay active. At age 85, she took up fencing. At age 100, she was riding her bicycle. Jeanne Calment lived on her own, by herself, without assistance, until 2 weeks before her 110th birthday, when her cooking started to fire, and they decided it was time to move into a nursing home. And if Jeanne Calment had great genes, and she had a great constitution, and she had a great mental fortitude, at her 115th birthday party, basically they asked her, what did she do all day? She said, I think, I dream, I go over my life, I never get bored. Just this very positive attitude, that joie de vivre, it seems to be the way to go.
Jeanne Calment certainly had a great set of genes. I wonder if I'm as lucky as she was. My mother lived to 85, and my dad is still going strong at 87. 100 years shouldn't be out of the question for their son, should it? It just doesn't seem fair. I exercise, I don't eat red meat, I take dozens of daily supplements, I drink oceans of green tea, and I can still develop colon cancer tomorrow. But some French woman lives on wine and chocolate and Gauloise and makes it to 122. Why should I work so hard if there's no guarantee for a long life? Or maybe there is.
Initially, I knew nothing about calorie restriction and didn't really care about longevity. I just went to the medical library to learn about nutrition. And then I happened upon Roy Walford's research with rodents, showing that when you give them less, in some cases a lot less than what they normally eat, 30, 40, 45% less, they live much, much longer, sometimes as much as 50 or 60% longer. So I thought, well, it works in rodents, and then I discovered later it works in fish, it works in insects, it works in basically every species in which it's been tried. Maybe it works in humans as well. Average American man probably eats about 3,000 calories a day. People on the calorie restriction diet, I think I know someone who's eating about 1,500 calories a day. If you were on a strict and somewhat severe version of this diet for, let's say, 4 years, you'd probably gain an extra year of life. And given that I started the diet when I was 29, I can say in my case, I could expect to live to be maybe 140. Food can be a comfort to a lot of people, especially people who are alone, people who don't have a lot of other sources of joy in their life. And for someone like that, a diet like this might be difficult. They would have to get joy from food in a different way.
It is a grand thing to be a food critic in the age of Lipitor. I will be the first person to say that. That being said, I have to be cognizant of what the food is doing to my body. I mean, I'm sort of the experimental stomach for the city of Los Angeles in a lot of ways. My doctor talks about it a lot, but I could probably stand to lower my croissant intake. I've always been pretty interested in food. In 6th grade, I had a bulletin board that had all my poems, and my poems were all about food, you know, banana fritters and green tea, ice cream, and potato chips, and, you know, I suppose that potato chips were for me what daffodils were for Wordsworth. Eating is one of the great pleasures of life, sitting at a table with your friends and with your family, having food that you spend hours preparing. It's a way of expressing yourself. And I think people with severe dietary restrictions, and believe me, in Los Angeles, they are legion, are indeed missing out on a lot that life has to offer.
This kitchen does a really good job with meatballs. They have a nice, loose texture. They're luscious. They have a soft...
I find it very difficult to talk about food with people who talk about what they aren't eating as opposed to what they are eating.
And this is the ensalada caprese.
Sometimes it seems like everybody in Los Angeles, or everybody in certain zip codes in Los Angeles, is on some kind of a diet or another. You know, there's Scarsdale, there's the Zone Diet, there's the 20-40-40 or whatever that one is. People are eating only protein or only fat or only carbohydrates. I think the idea of going to a place like Spago and asking for your halibut grilled, no oil, sauce on the side is perverse.
Looks great.
It's like deciding not to have sex because that's somehow going to dissipate your vital fluids.
To the extent that libido per se is closely linked to testosterone levels in men, at least, and it might be also in women, it's likely that libido would decrease in men on this diet.
Well, as far as the calorie restriction diet, that's a real deal breaker for me.
The best contraceptive for old people is nudity.
I'm in no hurry to compromise my sex drive in my senior years.
When you retire, you have no work. Many retirees experience a feeling of emptiness. They have a hard time finding something to do with their free time. Everybody's different, but spiritual uplift is necessary for all. Some find it in art or in sports. Others find it in volunteer work. In any event, to find a purpose in life is important. I've done over 200 adult films. Elder porn has increased in popularity, and I am partly responsible. When I was young, I had little experience with women. I was very serious and very proper. Nowadays, I tell my wife that I'm a late bloomer. I'm making up for lost time. I personally think the right amount of sex is uplifting for the spirit and even helps one stay youthful. Sex, after all, is a method of rejuvenation.
But not every Japanese senior is as lively as Shigeo.
The Japanese have a fondness for robots. You can see it in their anime and manga. So the domestic robot is very advanced in Japan. They find it easy to believe that souls exist within various inanimate objects. We introduced robot therapy to replace animal therapy for seniors.
I came up with the idea for a personal robot. It doesn't do any work. It's more like a pet. Paro is about the same size as a baby. We tried to design it to trigger the memory of holding a baby. It's not just its size that accomplishes this, but we try to emphasize body contact. We encourage stroking, cuddling, and embracing Paro. Paro provides useful therapy for both men and women. There was a 94-year-old man who purchased Paro and named it after his wife, who had passed away 10 years earlier. Since his wife's death, he had spent many days all by himself, without speaking to anyone. Through his interaction with this personal robot, Paro now exists as his new partner, and he is very happy.
America-san.
まだ結婚してないって。まだ結婚してないって。
足二人やろうか。まだ結婚してない。これこれ。
Not married.
足二人やる。おばあと二人やろうか。
In Okinawa, there's a folk belief that older people have this kind of spiritual power that helps achieve their health and longevity, and they can pass this on to other people. It's called ayakaru. It's a ritual in Okinawa. The older person will touch you, or if you touch the older person, they can pass this on to you. It's very interesting. It shows this kind of folk belief in Okinawa in the spiritual power of older people.
Tomorrow you will be partnered up with a senior citizen. Please be respectful, which you are, and use your manners.
When I first found out, I was kind of like, oh my goodness, we're going to the nursing home. Because I just pictured, you know, kind of like awkward situations and it kind of being smelly. I just kind of took the stereotypes of what a nursing home was.
Helen Beat is right here in the lavender.
I've heard that, you know, like older people, like you feel you've lived so long, you want to tell your story to somebody. Otherwise it just seems pointless that you lived that long.
My job every morning was to take my little syrup bucket, take it to the back door of the creamery, and they would fill it for me for 5 cents. I used to play the ukulele.
I think about getting old quite often. I try imagining, and I don't have a picture in my head at all. It's kind of more frightful, kind of scared of it. It's a really great experience to talk to somebody who's been there, done that, but isn't trying to, like I say, influence you in a certain way, just to tell you their life story, and then you take from that what you will.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
As I have no secrets to a long life. God gives me one day at a time. I don't have any dentures and I don't have any hearing aids. My hearing is not perfect, but if you speak distinctly, which everybody should, I can hear very well. I didn't feel that I was old until I was 95. I went to Disneyland on my 90th birthday. And I drove the car until I was 101. Oh, at my age, it isn't how you look, it's how you feel that's important. I ride the bicycle 15 minutes for 7 to 8 miles a day, 5 days a week at least. And then I lift 5-pound weights, 2 of them for about 5 minutes. It's not any big deal. It'd be nice if we could pick out how we're going to die, would it not? Just go to sleep. But each one of us has to take it as it comes. So you often wonder what's going to get you.
We live a long time here at Loma Linda. I'm 84, and she's over 100.
Why do you live so long?
Because we don't eat meat. I think that's one big reason, and then we're happy.
You seem happy.
Yes, we're very happy. Because we love the Lord.
Loma Linda is one of those hot spots in the world where people live longer. Some of us have jokingly said, well, it's not longer, it just seems longer. Within the Adventist theology, we understand the body to be a temple in the sense that God values our physical being. Therefore, we want to care for it. It's one of the ways of honoring Him.
That is the driving issue in this.
What we have with Seventh-day Adventism is that sort of healthy way of processing stress.
And only one of these leads to life.
They keep the Sabbath. They rest from sundown to sundown, Friday to Saturday. But that's one of the things we're studying. How many people do that, and does it help them?
It's a time when you pull back and just realize I can have a period of time where I'm not so relentlessly pursuing the duties that I have every other day of my life.
Can you say, my husband passed out on the plane?
That sounds like a nice idea. I wouldn't mind having a 24-hour period off, you know? It's like, yeah, unplug, contemplate, connect with the sacred.
Just turn here and keep going. Okay. Don't stop.
Mark, I think you've got to take a break. You're just spending too much time on this movie. You've got to get away from it.
I'm totally drained by it. I don't know what to do.
I can believe, because you're spending all your time thinking about death instead of enjoying your life. I've known you 16 years. I've never seen you so stressed. This movie is taking up your life. It's the movie about extending your life is clouding and complicating your life. You just need to get away, take a vacation, go somewhere completely different.
Pico suggested Iceland because of its natural beauty and its rejuvenating waters. He was right. It was a great place to unplug. For a while, that is.
NBC News In Depth tonight, a small country that's giving the whole world valuable information about our health. In recent months, a biotech company in Iceland, yes, Iceland, has been making important discoveries about genes for common conditions such as heart disease, stroke, cancer, even mental illness.
It turns out Iceland is another longevity hotspot. It boasts the longest lifespan for males on the planet. But the prospect of talking to yet another gerontologist about the benefits of cod liver oil, or another amazing 100-year-old about his daily exercise routine, just left me cold.
I've buried people who just came out of the doctor's office, and people coming out of the health food store, getting their soybean solutions, etc., etc. But I've never, ever, ever buried anybody that dropped dead coming out of a Coney Island hot dog stand. And I thought, it might be the safest place in the world. Take a walk, have a hot dog, you feel better,
Can we get an okie dog, a pastrami burrito, no cabbage? This is their signature creation. It's a okie dog. It's a tortilla, and inside is cheese, 2 hot dogs, fried pastrami, and pickles, mustard, and chili.
Oh my God.
If we get too concerned about diet or medication or eating or any of it to excess, the very fact that we're so obsessive about the body is going to make you sick anyway.
You've got to have a bite of the okie dog.
I see the hunger for long life as a kind of craving, and any craving makes us its subject and leaves us the poorer. Whether it's a craving for food, or a craving for sex, or a craving for money, or in this case, a craving for life.
Looks like you barely touched your okie dog.
So, I don't see the hunger for long life as being narcissistic so much as being short-sighted. It's like a child saying, I don't want to go to sleep. I want to stay here in the room with the adults, even though it's 10 o'clock. And in fact, the child is tired and is making its own life a misery and making everyone else's life a misery. So I think a part of us is that whining, bawling child, refusing to accept our natural limitations.
With those lights? Oh, that's Sugar. She's taking your picture.
Oh.
Grandma, do you realize that you are the oldest person in the world?
What?
You are the oldest person in the whole world.
Me?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it, does it?
Edna, if I could give you a pill that would let you live 500 more years, would you take it?
That's too long.
If you think of life as a movie or a book, really the most important thing is the end. That's what makes sense of everything that's come before. That's what puts it into perspective. Death makes sense of everything that comes before it. So either to eliminate the end of the story or not to think about it is almost to distort, to deform the whole shape of it.
Can you ask my mom if there's anything to fear about death or the process of dying?
Death, like being born, is just another part of the living experience, and you're dead longer than you're alive, and there's nothing to fear because all your relatives and friends are going to be here to meet you and greet you, and the animals and everything that you've loved and what you do here in life will be expanded on the other side as well. And there's nothing to fear when you're leaving the body. You're ascending to just another level of intelligence.
That's her saying.
It wasn't me. Your mom is saying, would you really want to live to be 100? Would you want to be 100? She says, after a while, you're not going to want to be 100. She wants you to just stop worrying. She's always a part of you because you're a part of her. It doesn't go away. There will be signs. You might hear a song on the radio that she liked, or you'll be looking at her artwork or a painting that she did, and you'll be reminded of her. You may even hear her voice speaking to you.
Is there a light?
Yeah.
Mark, what are you looking for?
I don't know. I'm looking for my mom's. Something of my mom. Me as a baby with our dog.
I'm sure artists and musicians, and painters and filmmakers and every other kind of creative person is just trying to get something on the planet that will outlive them. Maybe because, or maybe unrelated to the fact that they're not certain about heaven. They're not certain if they'll really properly haunt somebody. So, yeah, maybe not. Wait and see, I always say. That's the answer to almost all prayers. Wait and see. Yeah.